It's time for Rabbi Minkowicz's Weekly Torah Lesson, a place where life's most difficult questions are answered. Here with his spiritual perspective and insight, Rabbi Minkowicz.
Welcome to this week's Torah lesson. This week's Torah portion is Parsha Shemot, and the question of the week is, what keeps us in balance? So in this week's Torah portion, Parsha Shemot, we read about the famous story where Moses was out shepherding the sheep, and he's out, and he gives a look, and he sees the scene. He sees the famous burning bush that's burning, and as the Torah tells us, he sees it burning and burning, but the strangest thing that was happening was the bush was not being consumed. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, hey, let me step aside from here, and let me give a look and see why is it that this bush is not being consumed. So the commentaries say, what was Moshe Rabbeinu so intrigued? I mean, he was doing a job, he left the job to watch a bush that's being burnt, and it's not being consumed. So the commentaries explain, according to mysticism, what Moshe Rabbeinu actually saw was something deeper than a physical bush that's not being consumed. What Moshe Rabbeinu saw was the sneh, and Moshe Rabbeinu's vision as a natural leader of the Jewish people sees the Jewish people in this sneh. When he views the sneh, he sees the Jewish people. And he sees a fire. What kind of fire does he see? So in Kabbalah it explains, he saw two fires. One, he saw the fire of the righteous people. What is the fire of the righteous people? They have this tremendous compassion and passion for God, and they're serving God, and they're yearning to be with God. So Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, hey, why isn't it being consumed? If they have this yearning to be with God, why doesn't their soul leave their body and be united with God? Then he sees another fire. A fire of somebody that indulges in this physical world, in the materialistic world, is consumed in the materialistic world, and forgets about God, but nevertheless, the fire brings him back to God. And Moshe Rabbeinu is saying, hey, if you're so consumed in the physical world, in the materialistic world, why do you even bother praying at times? Why do you study? Why do you do mitzvot? Just be consumed. Let the physical world be your world. In other words, on one hand, he sees the righteous people still sticking onto this world, even though it looks like they want to leave. And he sees the people consumed with the physical world, not totally being immersed, but always coming back for a drink of Torah, or maybe doing a mitzvah, or some prayer. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, what's the secret that people are not expiring in either way? So Moshe Rabbeinu says, I'm going to leave, and I want to see this great image. What's this great image? So Kabbalah says, Moshe Rabbeinu said, the great image is the power of Torah. Because Torah is called the great image. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, wow, what is this power that Torah has that takes the righteous man that wants to be cleaved with God, but knows that God wants him to make this world a better place, and looks at the person that's consumed with the materialistic world, but nevertheless always comes back to study some Torah and doing mitzvot. Moshe Rabbeinu saw that the power of the Jewish people to always come back and be centered is the power of Torah. Because when a person studies Torah, there's something magical in there that won't allow you to escape the world, both on a spiritual high, and won't allow you to escape the spiritual world in a materialistic pursuit with no return. So in other words, to answer the question, what is the power that keeps us in balance is our connection to God through Torah. And as long as we study Torah, we'll never have an ecstasy, we'll always come back and be centered in this world, and we'll also never have an experience where we totally want to leave the fold. We'll always come back to be connected to God through Torah and mitzvot. This week's Torah lesson is dedicated to the memory of Baruch and Aryeh Leib. May the Torah that we're studying in his memory cause an elevation for his soul. Thanks so much for joining us for our weekly Torah lesson. Please join us for live classes here at Chabad. Wednesday, we have the JLI course from 12:30 to 2. Thursday morning, there's a Parsha class by Chana from 11 to 12. And Thursday evening, we have the JLI from 7 to 8:30. And Shabbat morning, we have Kabbalah class at 9 o'clock, followed by services and a Farbrengen. Shavua Tov, have a great week.